It's kind of messing with my hair right now. So.
Okay, hey everyone. This is another one of our vlogs of Not Scary Farm 2018. I'm a feline inspector.
And I'm Jared the Greek.
You might see him eat the magic.
Yeah, that's what I do.
The next maze we're going to talk about is Paranormal Inc. This is one of the more popular mazes in the park. It's found near, it's in that backlot area where Ghost Rider is, so you kind of have to go through like these double doors that's normally closed like during regular hours of Not Scary Farm, and then you'll see Hayden Hill sanitarium, and they have like a outside kind of set that kind of looks like an old timey creepy sanitarium.
Yeah, they do a really good job on the exterior. Not only does it look like the facility you're going into, but they also have screens showing interviews that are part of the Paranormal Inc. TV show. So they really try to play up the fact that you're on one of those types of TV shows. And I really like that aspect of it, especially because I think one of our friends might actually be in one of those videos.
Shout out to you, Anton. Yeah, I swear, like, so they have some pre-line entertainment while you're just waiting to get into Paranormal Inc. Some of the nights we've been on Paranormal Inc. we've been waiting like around like I'd say like half an hour ish.
Yeah, so right. It's very popular, and because they bring in people in a group and then send you off, and then they have to bring in another group, you have to have that whole time for the intro and then time for getting people further along in, and then they can reset the opening room. So it's always going to take a little bit longer, and they can only bring in, what do you say, about 50 people at a time or something?
Yeah, just more or less, because there's this, there's another pre-show. Well, I don't know if you could call it a pre-show, but because you're already inside the building.
That's part of the maze, though. I consider it part of the maze. But the exterior is great because they've had this one around for a while, I believe, too. So they've had the time to refine it where you have these gates you're going through, and you have the sign. You know, you have the shows showing the interviews of people like, oh, this guy went in and saw a weird shadow creature. And then, yeah, you go in, and it's actually someone there like, okay, guys, we're going to go live in a few minutes. You got to be quiet. Okay, let's get this going. And then the video screen come on, and they have a little conversation of a pre-recorded video. Of course, everything goes bad. The demons attack, and now you got to try to escape the sanitarium, which is a really cool kind of plot for it. And I think of all the mazes, I think it has one of the more coherent stories because they literally spell it out for you in the beginning because you're on a TV show. Similar to Special Ops as well. They basically spell out the story and give you your gun.
So what I also like about this maze, just watching the pre-video just before going in, they have like a camera kind of feed of like inside the maze. It's not in real time, but there are certain things that are in the maze where they have their camera set up, and that's actually is continued onto the maze. So I kind of like that extra layer of continuity.
Not only that, but it's the hospital as it would look before the demons do all their attacking stuff. So it's all plain. It's simple. As you can see it all lit up. And if you've seen any of those ghost shows, they almost always have that sequence with like, okay, we've set up camera 1. Let's see where that's at. And they show you the little camera 1 zone and the camera 2 zone. So I like that too. It's a nice touch. And again, plays towards the TV show aspect of what's going on.
And I really like that narrative structure of having like, yeah, this is like a ghost hunters type of show, and we're going to check out this investigation. We're going to check out this really spooky place, and then everything just goes haywire.
Yeah.
So I really like the whole framework behind that. And one of the reasons why this is like perhaps my favorite maze as of now for Scary Farm is I just have a little bit of a bias only because haunted hospitals, haunted asylum type horror movies, TV shows, American Horror Story being one of them, just really gets to me, but I enjoy it. So like one of my favorite horror type genres is creepy hospital, creepy asylum, and just like being in like a hospital in real life just also just gives me the creeps too. I know like a lot of people who tend to be very sensitive to like a lot of spiritualism also feel that way in hospitals.
Yeah.
That's why, even though I'm a Filipino, I don't work as a nurse because, hospitals kind of give me creepy creeps.
Yeah, yeah. I'm good at hospitals, please no. And it does work well for that. I don't think I'd call it my favorite.
You may have to think about this one.
I have to think about this one. So maybe I'll announce that at like the last one of these we do or something. I was like, I finally decided.
This was actually the first maze I did on my first scary farm. I don't know if they have it this year, but at the end of the maze, I know the Simpsons Riot jokes about this. Like, there's actually like a little section where you can buy merchandise based off the Paranormal Inc. Show. I know it's a fictitious show that is about the maze, but you can get like Paranormal Inc. hats and shirts.
I think they still have that merch. I just not sure where you get that.
It's usually like outside the maze, like right by where they sell booze. But I had to like look around for that because, like, yeah, I'm a fan. And we'll get more into like Hayden Hill's sanitarium merchandise I'd like to see eventually, or someone at Etsy just make this. But
I know they also have some artwork of Hayden Hill and whatever in or Paranormal Inc. I remember one or two at the gallery.
Bazaar.
The Bazaar
into
gallery.
the fog. That's right across. It's actually right next door to Iron Reef.
Yeah. Which actually I do recommend going through there. It's not really a maze type thing where I'm not going to do a vlog for it, but I'll use this as the opportunity to bring up. I really liked going in there, and actually I had one of the artists there, and he was doing commissions and selling some of his art, and he was a cool guy. It's cool just looking at everyone's art, and you can buy some of the prints and what have you, and some of them I really did like the designs of, especially some of the ones that look like old timey like movie posters and stuff like that. I always get a kick out of those.
I like creepy boysenberry girl. Like it's like a Little House on the Prairie like type of pioneer girl holding like a boysenberry pie, and then like when you walk past it, it just gives the illusion like, oh, creepy zombie boysenberry girl. I love it.
But getting back to the maze we're actually talking about, Paranormal Inc. I really like that opening. That opening is very effective to me because it's going to be a little bit different every time just because you have a live person there trying to get everyone settled up and talking about the show. And then even though the video they're going to get is the same video where everything goes haywire, they can still say a few different things there. And then when the demon thing attacks in the beginning, you have that person really getting you in the mood of like a panic, like, oh no, run, just get out of here. Everything's going wrong. We got to get out of here.
And it divides into two paths. So there's like the right path. And the first time you and I went, we did the right path. And the previous times I've gone on Paranormal Inc. Previous year was on the left-hand path.
And then my second time through, I went on the left path. I like the right path. There's a lot of little things in there. I like the typewriter that's kind of typing on its own. The wheelchair, the fact that you walk past a section, which clearly there's people getting like electroshock therapy or something like that.
You also have the gurney.
So there's a lot of things that I like on that side. Very, like again, that creepy asylum kind of feel to it that really feels really emphasized on the right side to me. Especially if you pay attention to the videos, they talk about how they use like unorthodox methods to try to heal people and whatever. And some of the stuff that's going on the right side feels like you're definitely seeing those unorthodox methods.
Yeah, if you've seen American Horror Story Asylum, you would totally be all about this maze. And it is one of my favorite seasons of American Horror Story. And I just like anything that has like unorthodox, creepy asylum type of feels to it. I can't explain why, but then again, I've always been creeped out with hospitals and the left-hand path. My favorite thing about the left-hand path is there's this area where it looks like a guest book and there's like a mirror in front of you. And usually they have like a monster just kind of chilling. There's probably like a monster of a nurse. And like there's just blood that just kind of like just spills all over that guest book.
I love that. Yeah, it was a good effect.
And right behind you, there's a couple of like what could be like an office type of setting. And even though there's a monster there's a part of me that's like, I just want to explore this place some more. Like my Call of Cthulhu investigation senses are really tingling. Like, yeah, I want to see what this is all about because a part of me is like, one of the reasons why I like Scary Farm is I can feel like I could be like the horror paranormal investigator that I've always wanted to be.
It reminds me of the first Call of Cthulhu game we did, and we went to that asylum. I had everyone go to that asylum in the Roxbury Asylum. And you guys all wanted to get sidetracked on like exploring the asylum instead of actually continuing the actual quest. And I was like, no, there's nothing here. It's just a nervous guy who's in charge. There's nothing else here, people. We need to get on to the actual story of the mission. But there's tons of Call of Cthulhu things that are, cursed asylum or stuff like that. I might pull out one of those. This actually could be kind of fun to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of detail to this that I really enjoy. And First time doing the right side path. I like the creepy typewriter. Just kind of gives me that shining kind of feels. So yeah, that's and then eventually the two paths will converge into one path, and that's when you go into the morgue where they have like all the drawers where they have all the dead bodies in there, and they kind of have like that haunted mansion effect where like you kind of hear them banging like, yeah, let me out, let me out. And then you also have a section of the maze where you see like the main host, Barry of Paranormal Inc., just kind of just trapped in this one area, and there's like the demon just coming out of this pentagram type thing, and like, holy snap.
And I like the whole, depending on, you know, how the guy wants to do it. One time we went through and I know he was doing the line, I'm so sorry. And I really liked that whole, like, you know, take you like, this is my fault kind of thing. And I liked, because it is technically, I mean, they're the ones who set off the electrical thing that cause all go in the first place, but always having a different kind of thing, or sometimes the yelling run and stuff like that. And then you get into that red room.
Before we get into the red room, just a couple other things I really like about this maze. There's a section where it looks like it's an area where it's not so much a morgue, but it's more so much where they look like they have like bodies wrapped up in blankets, like, and they're like just kind of stacked on a bed, and then you also have like just some creepy nurses just kind of like just walking through. I also like that effect too, like you know it's here's, it's just like this that creepy again hospital feeling, and just kind of like this body is just kind of like, okay, there's people who died here.
Bring out your dead.
Exactly. But there's a lot of atmosphere that they do such a great job at, where like even without the monsters, like there's like a lot of creepy feels to this. Like, no matter what path you go on, you're gonna have a section where it has like a lot of graffiti, which is kind of like akin to like a lot of abandoned asylums, abandoned hospitals, abandoned anything.
Because you see tons of things like, oh, look at this abandoned amusement park, and just all over the place, or look at this old building, and
it does give it like a sense of realism that this place has been abandoned and has been messed around with, and like I just really like a lot of the level of the attention to detail that went into the design and art direction of this maze. Just sometimes like there's that part of me is like, yeah, I just want to like just look at the mazes, just look at all the details, because I'm just like obsessed with them.
It's kind of that point of like, hey, can we just turn on the lights, and I just want to look at all the cool stuff.
All right, let's talk about that red room you like so much.
So the one thing that works really well there is you're hearing like snarling. Well, these times I've gone in there, there's been like snarling noises or harsh breathing noises and stuff like that. So it feels like you're surrounded in that room. Even if you're not, it feels like it. And then you go through this big barrier thing, which, yeah, that's not fun for a claustrophobic guy.
I warned you about that one.
You did warn me. I've gone through it twice, and even the second time, knowing it's there, I'm like, do not like.
And you went in the first time with a hat on.
Yeah, my hat almost fell off, and I had to grab it and like carry it behind me.
Forgot my hat.
Well, was it there? Which one was it? It was that one where my hat fell off as well, or was it?
Your hat fell off in Dark Entities.
Dark Entities.
Your hat also fell off in the sanitarium.
Yeah. So the rule is don't wear hats if you're going to do this, or if you do, it has to be like a yarmulke or something where it's not going to get knocked off. That little section there, and then you immediately pop out into what looks to be what the place was probably like when it first, when it was actually a running sanitarium.
Yeah, you hear like 1930s old-timey radio music. Like you're kind of like, you think like, okay, like maybe I stepped into another time period, and everything looks sane as far as an insane asylum goes. And then, but you kind of are greeted by these two nurses that look like they're from the era. They look normal, but they still kind of have a creepy vibe to them. And whoever plays those parts of those nurses, you guys do a great job of both being like both normal and creepy at the same time. Yeah, it's hard to describe, but like
both times I've gone through, they've had that cackling they kind of do a little bit. So it's kind of the whole, are we time warped? Are we seeing a vision of the past? Is just the demon screwing with you?
Or are we safe? What's going on here? Yeah. And then after that, you just enter this hallway, which just looks like, okay, just normal wallpaper. And then after a couple seconds, like you get this flash and you see all these bloodied up dead bodies like on the walls, like, and you kind of have them all like, where the hell are we?
Yeah, the lights are flickering, and when it gets dark and stuff, you see this.
See all these bloodied up dead bodies on the wall. You see like this demon monster just kind of just hanging out there.
Yeah.
And then like you kind of turn around, it's like, yeah, you pretty much cross to the other side, and it's not a happy place.
Like any good horror movie, there is no happy ending.
And even when you exit, you still hear that 1930s radio music as you exit.
Mm-hmm. Which is a great touch there.
Mm-hmm. The ending was actually different in previous years. I mean, you still get the same like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride goes to hell kind of thing, but once you go after, I don't know, like the birthing process, whatever those two things.
Yeah, well, the reason why they have that is because if you go into like from a cinematic point of view, it's always like that flash, and then suddenly they're in an alternate time period or whatever happens in the course of that. Well, you can't do that in the maze because you would see it coming. So it's a heavier barrier to prevent you from seeing that coming. And the first time, that was actually a surprise to me. I did not see that coming.
Yeah, the first time I went on it, it's like, okay, you're like in this demon bridge to hell, and you clearly see all the demons. Like, okay, so I was just trying to figure out like what created this transition. Okay, one minute you're like in a loony bin, next thing you know, like, okay, we're in hell. So did it like just dimensions just kind of cross over or something?
It might be something like that.
Because that's what I thought too, because I was watching a previous video of Paranormal Inc. And I believe in the intro videos, they said like, yeah, be careful because we don't want to cross dimensions together.
Yeah. It's a nice little effect. It gives you that horror movie kind of thing, like you can't escape. There is no escape. Like you're caught here. The demons pulled you into, the hell, the curse of this place, and now you're a patient. I think it's kind of what it's supposed to trying to maybe that's kind of how I interpreted it. Like, and now you're a patient. Congratulations, you're stuck here forever. Which I like that. It's a very horror movie type ending. That's if I was going to do a cursed asylum horror movie, that would be how I would end it. With like they think they escape, and then they're just once they walk through the door, they're just in the waiting room, and it's like, oh, don't worry, the doctor will be with you shortly. Credits. And it's like, no, I don't want to be here. And that would be such a good way to end a kind of a movie.
And we didn't have that ending in previous years, and I really like that addition there because you have a sense of like a false sense of security, and then like, oh snap, like it's Mr. Toad's Wild Ride again.
Yeah. Very effective. I really like it.
Yes. And when I went on this maze the first time, I wasn't really thinking of narrative structure. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to like just sit back, enjoy my first maze at Not Scary Farm. And like, okay, creepy asylum. You don't need to tell me a story here. I'm already creeped out as it is. And then more and more, I just started thinking about like how the narrative flowed and as it related to the characters in Paranormal Inc.
Yeah, it's kind of sad for them. Mm-hmm. They're all doomed.
And then, like, there's also a part of me that's like, I kind of want to see kind of, I don't know, maybe a sequel or a prequel maze of Paranormal Inc. because it's obviously is a TV show. And I kind of want to see, like, I don't know, maybe like a not stage show or like it's Paranormal Inc. and they
the
do
thing
something.
Is this, though, they literally could, if they decide they don't want to do the sanitarium anymore, they could change the locale, but still keep it tied into the show, which actually be really interesting. You could even make a continuity line to it, like on the little preview screens as you're walking in, and something like, well, after our time at the sanitarium, we decided to go to a safer place. We've heard only a few entities have shown up here. Nothing too crazy. This time it won't be as bad as last time, something like that. And of course, it's going to be as bad as last time because otherwise the maze would be boring. But you could do something like that and it'd be kind of funny because I like the idea of this being like an ongoing series.
Yeah, speaking of merchandise, I was just kind of bummed that I didn't see, well, at least a couple times we went to Scary Farm with our annual passes. I didn't see the Paranormal Inc. merchandise that I used to see, but now I kind of want to, as far as like my scary cosplay stuff, like if we were to go to a horror con, I want to cosplay as like a Hayden Hill nurse.
It'd be kind of fun to have the Paranormal Inc. hats or something like that. It'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I just wanted to do a nurse's outfit with like my name badge. It says like Hayden Hill Sanitarium, and just kind of like just do my hair up all 1930s, 1940s, and just kind of like just be the nurse that my my culture kind of expects me to be.
I could go as like weird demonic doctor. That could be actually fun.
Mm-hmm.
So
no, you can go as the Tooth Fairy, so we can all be continuity from Knox mazes.
Yeah.
Or you could be a creepy sailor guy who introduces the Depths maze. Comment below what you think Jared Jacostley has from the Not Scary Farm continuity.
But overall, it's really well themed, and I would be stunned if they decide to replace it next year, because I outside of making it, well, this time we're going into a haunted prison, or changing into something like that, but keeping the Paranormal Inc thing might be kind of cool. But such a good location, and look, I mean, there's a reason why the haunted hospital, haunted asylum thing shows up in horror games, and it shows up in movies, and it shows up in books, and it shows up in mazes, obviously, because there's already an unsettling factor, whether it's an insane asylum, a sanitarium, a hospital. They all have like an unsettling thing about it. I think part of it comes down to that sense of it reminds you of your own mortality, which is always a bad thing because you don't want to be reminded that you die. I mean, unless you walk around with a skull ring, because memento mori. But outside of the few cultures that have the memento mori kind of thing, most people do not feel comfortable being reminded of, by the way, you could be in one of these places in the future with some sort of disease or something. And then there's, of course, always just the general fear of, the traditional horror, psychotic maniac, which obviously would be imprisoned in one of these type of facilities as well. And the ghost of a psychotic maniac, well, we've all seen The Frighteners, so we know how that turns out. Freddy Krueger would have been the better choice. But I like that. It works so well. And then theming it around the TV show is my favorite part. It's not just a whole like, hey, guys, let's sneak into a haunted asylum. It's the, hey, we're going to do a cool show, and we have technology that'll make the ghosts visible for everybody.
In front of a live audience.
Yeah, that'll be fun. And everything goes wrong. And I like that. It's such a good concept. And, oh, yeah. Like I said, I'm not sure if this is my favorite, but it's definitely got to be, top 3 or in that range, because it is. I love the theming, like you said, and I love the fact that just it begins kind of cheesy with the cheesy videos and the intro, and then freaking demon flies across, and you're all gonna die here, and I love that. It's great.
It's an amazing maze. Highly recommend checking it out as one of the must-do mazes of Not Scary Farm.
Totally worth the wait.
All right. Definitely tell us in the comments, like, whether you like Paranormal Inc. or not. What was your favorite part of the maze? And this is a feline of Spectre.
And Jared the Greek.
And we will see you in the fog.
Yes.